The sky was burning. The clouds red with twisted fire. Lightning moving across them. And they descended upon everything. Like a furious battle between God and Satan, good and evil. Like a fire vortex.
What is up, everyone? How y'all doing tonight? It is Monday, but we're already kicking off Week 9 of SGL with our first matchup of the week. It's Steel Army versus El Matador. Folks, this is the only Mazar. Hope you're all here having a good night so far. And we're going to kick off this week with this exciting matchup. But I won't be doing it alone right here. With me in the commentary booth is a very special co-commentator. I don't know how to introduce him, so wait, how about you introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Luis. I am on El Matador, one of the two teams featuring tonight. And yeah, I'm really excited, Maz. We are starting Week 9, moving ever so closely to the Season 8 playoffs. So I'm really happy to be here and look forward to tonight's match.
Absolutely, Luis. There's a reason I wanted you to kickstart this because, not gonna lie, I was hoping you'd be able to play tonight, but you decided not to. You decided to commentate here instead. So, do you mind telling us why you decided to make this choice, if you don't mind?
Yeah, we have a really big roster, so we're at EM. We're just really focused on getting people playing time, and we feel confident that we'll make playoffs no matter what. And yeah, we're trying to get as many minutes for everybody on the roster as we can.
Heck yeah, that's what I like to hear. Look, here in SGL, everyone should get a chance to play, because at the end of the day, this is basically a for fun league. Like, we have no prizes, nothing really at stake, so the more minutes that everyone else gets, the better. And when it comes to roster sizes, I think you guys have the biggest roster in all of SGL, probably the biggest roster ever in SGL history. I'm looking at your lineup right now in our sheet, and you have a total of 13 players registered. That is a huge roster, Luis. So I can understand why you want to give everyone a chance to play and get a decent amount of game time as well before we get towards the end of the season.
Yeah, obviously, again, this is a league of supporters playing some Rocket League. So yeah, we want to get everybody involved. Yeah, I think tonight's going to be a fun match for some of the players that I guess won't feature on the I guess you could say the first team, if that's even a correct phrase that you want to use. But yeah, we're excited. We have a big roster, obviously, with all the mid-season additions. So we're looking forward to next season. You could expect the FC Dallas contingent, the El Matador contingent to feature more than one team. But yeah, we're excited for tonight's game.
Heck yeah. So I like to see. Hey, we'll get to next season when that time comes, but tonight we have a solid matchup for you all. It's Steel Army versus El Matador. Before we dive into this, folks, I want to do a quick preview of the week's fixtures, just so you all know what to look forward to. So how about we get into that right now? Real quick. So we do have Steel Army versus El Matador kicking us off this week, but we have some other interesting matchups coming up for you as well. We have Los Verdes versus the Locals, the Rebellion versus Emerald City Blue. My match of the week, personally speaking, Timbers Army versus KC Cauldron, and then Emerald City RC versus Emerald City Defiance, the Seattle Derby. Luis, which match here sticks out for you?
Yeah, the obvious match of the week for me is going to be that Timbers Army versus Kansas City Cauldron game. it's essentially a playoff game for uh, both teams, but more so Timbers Army. Once we go over to the league standings here in a little bit, you'll be able to see kind of the implications of what that match has for the overall league table and for the overall playoff picture. So that TA versus Kansas City Cauldron series is going to be one that I'm really, really looking forward to, because TA have had a really good run over the past few weeks, kind of finding their footing, and Kansas City Cauldron, there are the defending champions, playing better, but still finding some mixed results. So I'm really looking forward to that match.
Big time. And besides that, I do also want to highlight the Rebellion versus Emerald City Blue, another match with playoff implications. And again, when we get to the table, we will highlight what we are referring to here. But when it comes to, the Rebellion versus EC Blue, the EC Blue need to win. They need to keep going with their good momentum that they've built up over the past few weeks, and keep that push, keep that fight going for 6th place. And for the Rebellion, they've been kind of slipping down the league table. So for them, if they can get a win here, they can pretty much seal their spot in the playoffs. Now, I think now is a very good time for us to go to the league table and see how these matchups can play a big part in the playoff qualification. So here we are. We have two teams pretty much tied at first, but the locals are leading because of their head-to-head record. They beat Emerald City RC. So despite being tied in every which way, they lead over Emerald City RC because they beat them this season. And then behind them, by 1 point, is Steel Army. By 2 points, El Matador in 4th. By 4 points, the Rebellion. And that's what I was hinting at, folks, earlier. They've kind of slipped out. And then you have Timbers Army in 6th. And then you can see in 7th, Cauldron, 3 points behind them. Emerald City Blue, 4 points behind them. And then Steel Army, after their win over Emerald City Defiance last week, they are now 6 points behind. So for them, this is a very important matchup, too, against El Matador. And then, making up the rest of the table, you have Los Verdes with 10 points, Emerald City Defiance with 4. Now, Luis, we're going to touch on something you did a few days ago in a little bit, but, you already talked about Timbers Army versus KC Cauldron, how important that matchup is. Do you think that matchup is going to make or break each team's season?
Yeah, I think for TA, it's uber important that they win this game, because they've played one more match than the Kansas City Cauldron, and if they were to lose this match, Kansas City Cauldron has that one game in hand to make up even more points. So that game's gonna be very important for, I think, more so TA, but also important for Kansas City to again find their place back amongst the first 6. But yeah, I think if you're TA, you're playing for your life here, yeah, if you're KC, you're not all the way out if you lose, but man, the road looks a little steep.
Yeah, I get you. Because if Timbers Army win, even if KC Cauldron get 2 games, Timbers Army going to have 4 in total. So that gap is going to rise up to 5 points. And that means with 2 more matches to go for KC Cauldron, they need to win both of their matches, basically, to have a chance. And they have to hope that Timbers Army drop 1 match at the very least. So this will be a very important match for KC Cauldron. They have to win for sure. Now, I also touched upon the Rebellion versus Emerald City Blue. If Timbers Army win and the Rebellion happen to lose, the Rebellion are then on the spot, because they'll be down to... Actually, no, the win percentage means that they'll still be up above, but they'll be under pressure. Because if they cannot win this matchup against Emerald City Blue, they'll then be under pressure. With that said, Luis, what do you think is the magic number here? How many points do you think a team would need to qualify for the playoffs at this stage?
Honestly, it's tough to tell. We've had some people in our Discord server try to kind of figure out what a magic number would look like for playoffs for SGL. I don't know. I think somewhere around 25 points, maybe 23. 23 to 25 points. You're probably safe. But yeah, again, it's really hard given the structure of how we do points in SGL to come up with a magic number that you would be more accustomed to seeing in like Major League Baseball or the NHL or whatever other sports league. So yeah, maybe 23, 25 points, somewhere in between there. So I think you should be looking pretty good for playoffs, but I am not a math major, so it is way out of my league.
Well, let's do some simple maths right here, real quick, just for a hypothetical sake. Uh, Casey Calder on 14 points right now, and then the teams at the top have 25 points. That's an 11-point gap. Those two teams can risk potentially getting knocked out if they lose all their remaining matches and Casey Cauldron win the rest. Now, and those two also need to pretty much lose on a sweep 2 out of 3 times. And then in the last instance, they have to lose by, I think, 1 or 2 games. So, given the matchups we have at the end, ECRC versus El Matador, ECRC versus Emerald City Blue, and then the locals versus, well, Los Verdes this week, the locals versus the Rebellion, and the locals versus Black Army. There's a small chance that they could get knocked out still. With that said, a lot needs to go their way. So technically, no team has sealed their playoff spot at this stage. However, there is one team that will no longer be able to make it into the playoffs, unfortunately, and that is Emerald City Defiance. Luis, there's no way they can earn more than 16 points. So it's, or actually no, they cannot earn more than 12 points now. So it's game over for them pretty much. But they still have something to play for, right?
Yeah, obviously you don't want to go winless in a season, so that'll be kind of the motivating factor for ECD going forward in the remaining fixtures. But yeah, still a lot to play for position 1 through 10. So it's really good to see at this point in the season that we have so many teams that still have a lot to play for. Whereas in other FGL seasons, there would be a lot more, definitive positions for everybody this late in the season. So it's going to make for a fantastic finish to this fantastic season we've been having in Season 8. So yeah, every game matters right now for everybody. So all these games are going to be playoff-like in terms of intensity to finish out in those top 6 spots.
Absolutely, and that's why I'm looking forward to this week as well as the remaining 2 weeks. There's a lot to play for, a lot on the line for each and every team. No team from 10th onwards has been knocked out yet, so everyone still has something to play for. In some way, shape, or form. Emerald City Defiance their first win. Los Verdes, they can still make the playoffs if they get a lot on their way, but there's still a chance mathematically. Now, in terms of mathematics and probabilities and all, Rydog did allude to something like that, when we talked about points totals and what would be reasonable. So Rydog in chat said 23-ish is a good basis, because if TA win out, that's 25 and that's a guarantee. And honestly, I'm inclined to agree, because I struggle to see anyone really losing out that much. So 25 would probably be a safe total. If you make 25, you're very likely to make the playoffs. 23 would be my magic number personally. But again, if Casey Cauldron get on a roll, if Emerald City Blue get on a roll, then any team that's on 23 points or under, they need to be very careful, for sure. Now, in terms of everyone else in the chat, I see Podes. Welcome on in, Podes. I'm not sure if you're going to play, but hopefully we'll see that. Saint, I think you'll be very likely to play, given that Luis is in the commentary booth, so we'll see if you can get some more minutes in. And for the rest of you viewers who are in here right now, welcome aboard. We are still previewing the week that's coming up. We're still previewing the rest of the season. And at 1:30, we will kick off the match between Steel Army and El Matador. Now, Luis, we've talked about the teams. How about we highlight the players and focus on, who the top 5 are up to now. So, as you can see right here, folks, one of the first names that pops out is Mecky Ducky, or Monkey Ducky, as you see in this table. Monkey Ducky summoning his inner monkey moon comes out, topping points per game, total points, total goals, and goals per game. So this dude has been the best offensive player, probably the best player, a potential MVP this season, Luis. And speaking of, Luis, you're second pretty much in the offensive stats as well, which is pretty cool to see. And even in total assists, you're in fourth. So you're pretty much a well-rounded, all-rounded player. I'd say you're an MVP candidate as well. What do you think sticks out here for you?
Yeah, again, I think just reiterating a lot of stuff we've covered so far in these stats. Not much has really changed. Some of the players in here, like Cheeky Prophet, for example, has only played one series. Thorn Gold as well, I think he's only played 3 series. And so there are some outlying numbers here from people who haven't really played in like every game this season, and that would be me included. I think for me, I'm gonna have not played in I think 3 or 4 series by the end of the season. So yeah, these numbers are kind of a good baseline, but they have some anomalies that I think are good to point out. One player that I think doesn't feature on well, he features in some categories that I think is kind of underrated in like the MVP discussion is going to be IT Polar. I think he's been tremendous. I think he's a very underrated player. I don't think I've talked about him that much when I've been in the booth. So I kind of want to highlight Polar. He's been a catalyst for a Rebellion team that coming up until last week without him had won, coming into last week they had won 5 straight games, and they played last week against EM and they lost in I almost said straight sets. I've been watching too much tennis, they lost in a sweep. So IT Polar, he features on the goals per game and total goals, but yeah, in terms of still the favorite for MVP, I think it's going to go to Meki Ducky. He's, again, the numbers speak for themselves, having a tremendous season, and yeah, he's been tremendous.
Absolutely. It's a good thing you highlighted Polo right there, because he has stepped up big time, and he has been playing a big part for the Rebellion, and he's one of the biggest reasons for them being that high up the table, being one of the best teams in SGL this season for sure. Another name I want to highlight as well is Vexamed. You're seeing him up there in total points and total goals as well. So even though his Black Army team hit a bit of a road bump in the middle of the season, they've started to bounce back a bit. And, he's one of the bigger players coming in as well. And let's not forget, you see Emerald City RC near the top of the table, and you see Toad Death's name around here, featuring himself in the goals. You see Spanky high in the assists. Not too many games himself, mind you, but anytime he plays, he gets a lot of assists for sure. And then you have Smashy there as well in the assists. And at the end of the day, when you look at the saves, you see Martez featuring, and that's a player you got to pay attention to, folks, when Black Army plays, because Martez does lay the foundation for Vexamed to pop off and go and play at his best. So that's one guy to look forward to. And we talked about Timber's Army. They're going to need Rydog and Nelly to be at the top of their game, because when those two are at their best, that Timber's Army team is unstoppable. And the only reason I'm bringing them up is because you can see them in the total saves category, 3rd and 4th respectively. These guys are always locked on defensively, tough to beat, tough to score against when they are at their game, and even offensively, I would say Rydog is very tough to deal with, as well as Nelly. So, a lot of good players with their various strengths and weaknesses. But in terms of, the best players around, I'd say Meki Ducky, Polar for sure. I'd argue Caesar as well. I think Caesar's really stepped up this year. And finally, I wouldn't want to dismiss him, but I'd say Toad Death has also been one of the better players in SGL this season. Just very consistent, always delivering goals when it matters, especially when Emerald City RC tend to start a bit slow.
Yeah, Black Army's an interesting team. They had a ridiculous result, I think, last week in beating KC Cauldron after going through a bit of a rough patch after starting off undefeated. So Vexamed, Eric in particular had a ridiculous series against KC. So Black Army, they kind of hit a reality check midway through the SGL season, but man, that result against Kansas City kind of puts them back in the discussion for being a playoff contender. Yeah, I think everything that you said was pretty spot on. Toad Death as well is a good shout for an MVP candidate. Really the leader of that ECRC team so far this season. So yeah, it's good on you to bring up Toad Death. I think he is also in and around these sorts of conversations.
Big time, big time. And, we have a few minutes to go, folks. I don't want to waste too much more time. I think now is a good time to get to predicting the winner of Steel Army versus El Matador. Now, chat, you have the chance to predict with your channel points. Put your channel points where your fingers are, I guess, because, we're not speaking. You're typing your messages. I apologize for the, statement here, but you get what I mean. Make your predictions known. Let us know also in chat who you think will win and by how much, what the scoreline is basically. But we will also feature some of our own predictions, Luis. So how about we do that right now? So as you can see over here, I have 3 predictions featured up. My predictions, Toad Death's predictions, because he did do them for, the rest of the season. And also you too, Luis. So you predicted El Matador to beat Steel Army 3-1. Do you think that'll still hold, even without you and potentially Caesar?
I literally don't know who's playing tonight, so I'm gonna just go for my team. I hope my team wins. I'll go EM in 5. I think I put 4, but we'll do EM in 5. It's a fun game versus the other brothers from Pittsburgh, so yeah, EM in 5. Why not? Let's play 5 games of Rocket League.
You know what? I find that reasonable too. I'd say EM in 5 as well, now that I learned about, the potential lineups. I put 3-0, expecting a full-strength team against Steel Army. This was a prediction that I stuck with even after Week 8. And then Toad Death also made a similar prediction to you, Luis. He predicted 3-1 between El Matador and Steel Army. To round off the rest of the predictions, I think they're pretty much straightforward for the most part, although you and Toad Death have almost mirroring predictions, except for Timber's Army versus Casey Cauldron, which you and I both see go into 5 games.
Yeah, I think TA is just good for that extra game. They've been playing really well of late, so I'm gonna give that TA that second game in that series. I think Rydog in particular has been cooking recently, so I'll give them that second game there. But yeah, I guess the one caveat for these predictions is you never know what lineup you're gonna get for EM, so it's tough to predict EM. But yeah.
And you know what? I think now's a good time to really dive into this matchup, folks, between Steel Army versus El Matador. So, Luis, what do you think it'll take for Steel Army to beat El Matador right here, given your knowledge of your own team?
Honestly, I literally don't know what to expect. It sounds like a cop-out answer. I literally don't know. I think Steel Army's had a bit of a rough season for their standards. And yeah, with a rotated team, you never really know what to expect. So I wish I could have better insight into how I think the series is going to go. I think it's going to be fun to watch. Yeah, I hope we win, and I think, but I think Steel Army, Debit, Bear Blitz, these are all guys that everybody on EM is really familiar with, and so yeah, it'd be a fun series, man. In terms of the analysis, I don't know. I think it'll be fun. That's all I can really tell you, man.
Hey, I understand. It's all good. I mean, we'll analyze the gameplay when it happens live in front of us. Personally, I think, given the potential lineups for both teams, for Steel Army, I think what they need is for Bear Blitz to start taking over and control the games. When he controls the games, Steel Army control the games. Debit is at his best when he's focusing on shooting and defending, and not necessarily worrying about trying to kick off attacks and, dribble the ball out. Although he is very good at 50s, I think he's more comfortable doing the cleanup work in front of the opposition net and the defensive work in his own net. And then you have Red 4, who I think will be key in disrupting the opposition. And for El Matador, I think what they need to do is basically not overextend themselves. If they can keep themselves solid, that Steel Army team is prone to getting countered against. So if El Matador make sure that they don't commit their third too high, and if they don't necessarily, push up too far and get a bit too over-aggressive, I think they could get the win right here. That's just my own insight. I'm not claiming to be an expert. I'm not going to say I'm right or wrong. That's just what I think based off of what I've observed. We are just about ready to go, folks. We are past the half-hour mark. We're waiting for Steel Army to join. El Matador is in. Luis, interestingly, I'm noticing only 3 players for El Matador at this time. There has been a change in the rules recently where we make sure that no subs are allowed, right?
Yeah, so for the sake of integrity, we're trying to, and this will be fully enforce here in the last few weeks of the season, and especially in playoffs. We're going to be enforcing to just make sure in the lobbies you have the players that are playing. That way there's no sort of like information bouncing between players who are just in the lobby watching, etc. So yeah, and I guess right now we have the brothers on one side for Steel Army. That'll be the lineup running for the Riverhound boys, and then we have for EM we have Pones, we have the Couve, and we have Overtime Saints. So I think we have all the players in the lobby, Maz.
Absolutely, I think we are good to go. The brothers in Debit, Red 4, and Bear Blitz versus Ponesy, Couve, and Saint. We are just about ready to go, folks. Once both teams join, we will get started. And they're hopping in right now, folks. We are just about ready to go. Once the clock ticks down to go, here we go. Game 1 between Steel Army and El Matador.
Yeah, game 1 here, Maz. Always super important in all of these SGL games. And speaking about being important, Pones on the scoreboard 6 seconds into the game. And Maz, I'm being pretty serious here. If EM want to have a chance in this series, given the lineup on the field, Pones is going to need to be doing a lot of that in today's game.
I absolutely agree. Palace dumped him, Al Capone's. The dude has stepped up right there. Getting a goal all on his own. Great start for El Matador. And Steel Army, they need to get out of this real quick. I'm surprised at how slow they started this game right here.
Yeah, I'm really liking the energy so far on the offensive end for EM. The Couve with some tremendous offensive play so far from him. You love to see that returning to the EM lineup after a bit of an absence, who in his case has been a mainstay in the EM lineup for seasons. So good to see him back on the field doing good things.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm just really happy that, because there were a lot of talks about Couve potentially not featuring as much for the remainder of the season. So for him to come back and get involved, that's really good to see. Ponesy, I think, is going to be a very important player, as you highlighted earlier. And so far, he has stepped up. But it's Steel Army now who are maintaining the pressure, who are looking for that equalizer. The ball is hanging right in the middle. Open net at Devin's mercy. And folks, he is coming to clean up the mess. Devin is back into his goal-scoring form. 1-1 between Steel Army and El Matador.
Red 4 is not going to get any credit on the stat sheet for this goal, but his bump on the backboard allowed for the rest of the play to happen. So great physical play out of Red 4 there led to his brothers getting a very, very easy goal.
Oh, so unfortunate. You were talking about Red 4, Luis, and the poor guy whiffs completely. The net all open, and Saint still had to put it in the back of the net with an on-rushing Debit, and he does so. El Matador take the lead back just like that.
Yeah, and I was speaking highly of Red 4, but as the commentator curse goes, he does an oopsies on the field. So if you're a Steel Army, you still got to feel pretty good about yourself. You got to knock that off, say it was just a fluke goal. But yeah, if you're EM on the other side, great response to conceding that first goal.
So one thing I want to highlight right here is Bear Blitz is getting a lot of time on the ball to dribble it out. How important do you think that'll be for Steel Army right here? As he almost gets a shot on target, and he doesn't put it in. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Red 4 saves his teammate's shot there, and then Bear Blitz missing the open net, but Debit is not missing open nets. And man, it felt like a goal was coming, and there it came, and Debit on the scoreboard again for Steel Army. That's 2 goals for Debit so far. And again, if you're Steel Army and Debit's rolling, you got to feel really good of where you're at in this game.
Yeah, that's Debit's second, and already he's getting involved on the score sheet. It's a high-scoring game 1 so far. I know we were talking about Bear Blitz just a bit recently, but just to get back onto that, if you don't mind, Luis, how important would Bear Blitz be right here in this game, given how it's gone so far?
Yeah, Bear Blitz is going to be looking to be that creative player to unlock the likes of Debit. And so far, Bear Blitz has been one of those players in this season that I think has been a highlight in terms of improving at the video game. Yeah, so far he's having a really good impact on this game 1. And yeah, Pones as well, I think is a player that is kind of in the Bear Blitz category. We haven't really seen him too much in the league, but he's a player that I think many eyes who watch SGL should really keep their looks on.
Look at this passing play from Steel Army right here, folks, but they just cannot get that finish. Good save by Couve, courtesy of his good positioning at the near post, but Steel Army's passing and team play is starting to unfurl, and they're starting to get it going. But
Oh my.
Saint gets all the time and space and makes it count. It doesn't matter how easy it might be to bring the ball forward, you still have to put your shot on target, and Saint gets a powerful 64-mile-per-hour shot off of his Octane, courtesy of Alan's Bankersori.com radar gun. And it's 3-2 to El Matador in the second half.
Yeah, overtime Saint, the TikTok enjoyer, doing some TikTok things there. A good pass to himself on the backboard, and a really nice finish. Not the easiest finish in the world. So, if you're EM, I think overtime Saint's going to need to be that second player behind Ponzi on the offensive end. So, really good play from overtime Saint to get EM's third goal.
Yeah, and he really struggled in the one game against Emerald City Blue as well, Luis. So it's good to see him bounce back like this and really start to show what he's all about. But Baron Blitz gets back Steel Army into this game. Big bump attempt right there. I think Debit does bump him away. Saint, very unlucky right there. And Couve was at no man's land.
Yeah, and 2 of the Steel Army goals come off of that third man bumping. Again, Debit's not getting credit for that goal on the stat sheet, but kind of like Red 4 on that first goal, that bump was tremendous in opening up space for his 2 brothers. And yeah, high-scoring game here, Maz. I didn't really expect this, but 3-3 with a little over 90 seconds left.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this game goes. If Posey is going to want to sit back a bit more, be a bit more defensive, or if these 2 teams are just going to go at it head-to-head, just attacking each other, being uber aggressive. So far, both teams have been relentless with their attacks. They didn't want to sit back and just keep themselves composed. Though Steel Army are looking really good right here, but good work by both Saint and Couve at the near post to get this ball out.
Yeah, and if you're Steel Army here, I think you just got to play a little bit slower. And if you're EM, I would like a lot more physical play. So I think slower from Steel Army, more physical play out of EM. I think that's kind of the recipe for both teams if they want to secure this Game 1 dub.
I totally agree, because, I have yet to see El Matador really engage in any bumps and demos, but so far this game plan's been working for them. Posey to the near post, but a good save out by Steel Army, and now they're kicking off this counterattack.
Yeah, great save there by Ponzi, realizing Couve is in an awkward spot, covering well for his teammate. Pones, again, he needs to be that standout player if EM are going to look to win this game. And Debit off the crossbar, looking to seal the game for Steel Army, and I think he will. Another massive bump from Steel Army. Debit on the score sheet for his 3rd goal of the match, and it's 4-3 in favor of Steel Army.
Yeah, you're right, it's another bump. I think almost every goal that Steel Army scored has involved a bump on the third man, and pretty much every goal has involved Debit too. I think that's his hat trick, isn't it?
Yeah, and this is kind of the Debit that we've been expecting from Steel Army, that kind of dominant best player on the team, and so far you got to feel really good if you're Steel Army to see your main man, your tallies man, actually performing to the level that we know he can.
Oh my goodness, a big demo right there. I don't know if he meant that, but it does work out. Couve clears it out to the opposite side. El Matador pinned back. They need to get out. Oh, that's a scare right there for them. Still a chance though. 2 seconds. The ball is in the wrong spot, but it is high up. It's still up. Can El Matador keep the scoring? Can Steel Army end this? That's not the touch you want, Bear Blitz. You got to put it down. But they get away with it, and Steel Army gets this game 1, Luis.
Yeah, tremendous Game 1 from both teams, but Steel Army, tremendous. I think their offensive cohesion, a lot more than EM. You saw all the bumps. You mentioned the bumps on all of their goals. I think it was exactly on all of their goals. You saw a bump leading to the open space in the net. So if you're Steel Army, Debit with a hat trick is something that you're going to love to see. He is obviously their best player, and it really hasn't played like that in a lot of SGL series. But yeah, great performance from Debit there. And again, this is a massive series for Steel Army if they want to have any chance of making the playoffs. I believe they basically have to run the table. So if you're Steel Army, this is a fantastic start in what is a must-win series for you.
Big time. And Debit there with his hat trick. 3 goals off of 5 shots. The cleanup crew, the one-man cleanup crew, rather, doing a great job of putting the ball in the back of the net. And another player I want to highlight on that front is Overtime Saint, showing some very good finishing. Folks, he may not have the insane mechanical skills, but he doesn't need it, because the finishing is what matters at the end of the day. And if you put the ball in the back of the net, you're going to be a valuable player for your team.
Yeah, in game two, as it approaches here, Maz, this has to be a must-win for EM. It feels like if you want to get back into this series. And listen, I'm really interested to see what lineup they bring. They might bring the same lineup, and if they do, I think what would benefit EM here is just a little bit more physical play. You saw the physical play out of Steel Army really worked to wonders for them. So same lineups for both teams here. Excuse me, Raisin Boy coming in for Red 4, but same lineup for EM. And here we go, game 2 in what is probably a must-win for EM.
Yeah, that's going to change a lot for Steel Army, both in a good and bad way. Bad way because they need to get used to him and adjust to his gameplay, but in a good way because Steel Army needed an X-Factor player throughout the season, and Raisin Boy is definitely that guy. And if you're El Matador, you gotta worry about him now on top of, Bear Blitz and Debit. So, we'll see how El Matador does right there. Steel Army trying to go for an interesting pitch attempt. But the net's open! The net is at Debit's mercy, and just like game 1, Luis, Steel Army take the lead courtesy of an open net finish from Debit.
Yeah, Raisin Boy really was the one that created that goal. He's not going to get an assist. Bear Blitz is going to steal that assist from him. But Raisin Boy, again, a seasoned veteran in SGL, coming into a line that's not really going to bother him or Steel Army too much. And it's 1-0 to Steel Army, and they're well deserving of that lead.
Raisin Boy has been looking really good so far. Oh, I thought that triple commit was going to get messy for Steel Army. But Bear Blitz gets the second immediately after Debit's first. And El Matador are looking in big trouble right now here.
Yeah, all 3 players of Steel Army in the air, and as our good friend Normac says, triple commit, triple the chances, and tremendous bit of skill from Bear Blitz there. Always want to highlight his mechanical improvement as each season of SGL goes on. And yeah, if you're EM here, you got to start to wonder, man, is this getting away from us? They really need a goal soon to kind of get the morale and momentum back on their side.
Yeah, especially the morale part, because I think we forget how much that Rocket League is a momentum-based game, and the mentals play a big part of that. So if you keep your, mental strong, if you can keep your composure, you can swing the momentum back in your favor. And little things like those 50 wins in the air will help, and keeping control of the ball as well. We'll see if El Matador can get back into it. That's much better from Saint. That big pinch clearance brings the ball to the other end. And now Debit takes control, beats 1, beats 2, cannot get the third, but Raisin Boy's right there, instantly not giving El Matador any time to get going.
Yeah, Debit really having one of, if not the best series of SGL this season for himself. Really taking command of balls, not giving it away, and yeah, doing things that we know that he has been capable of in previous seasons. So really happy to see Debit kind of back playing the way we know he can.
So one thing I want to highlight is with El Matador, they're in a tough spot right now. This Steel Army team looks very comfortable, and El Matador seems to just be giving the ball up quite a bit. I know you talk about being physical and more aggressive, but at this stage, Steel Army just looks so settled. Do you think a physical playing style will still help, or do you think they need to do something different?
Yeah, listen, it's tough. Knowing all these players, I don't really think they've all played together before, so it's tough to find the cohesion. As we see Debit slot in the third goal for Steel Army. Man, it's looking really tough for him at the moment, kind of giving the ball away. Not the best rotations coming out, and Steel Army is just feeding all over the mistakes, and it's 3-0, and pretty comfortable 3-0 for Steel Army.
Yeah, it does suck to see, because for Uzi, I can see the idea right there. He wanted to get that big booming hit over past the midfield, but he just didn't get enough power and, what's the word? Height on that ball, for lack of a better term.
We have a Rule 1, Maz. I don't think we've had a Rule 1 in a very long time, at least when I've been commentating. So we have a Rule 1 in SGL. It's kind of funny. We don't really have many of those, it feels like. So Rule 1 there, maybe this will favor EM here, because it does seem that Raisin Boy is caught up in one of the Rule 1s, who's been a standout player so far since his substitution introduction into Game 2. But Debit looking comfortable on the ball, and really curious to see how EM plays this in this 2v2.
Oh, Posey's going up for a double! Posey gets the goal back, and that Rule 1 is in El Matador's favor. Posey coming off and showing off his skill right there. What a great goal to bring El Matador back into this game too.
Yeah, so far, clearly the best goal we've seen so far in the series, and that's just kind of some of the mechanical ability that we've seen out of Ponzi in his brief time so far in SGL, and really looking really solid there on a fantastic double tap. That hopefully, if you're EM, this is going to be somebody or a play that kind of gets the momentum back for the latter part of this game and this series.
Yeah, and it's those little things that can inspire a team, that can inspire some confidence, get them going again. But Steel Army, oh my goodness, nothing phases them, Luis. Look at the composure right here. Debit just waiting patiently, getting the nice cherry pick touch for Bear Blitz, who slots it into the top right corner. And I get that there's still 72 seconds for El Matador, but a 3-goal lead like that against this confident of a Steel Army team, this good of a Steel Army team, I just feel like there's no hope for El Matador, is there?
Yeah, it really feels like that's kind of a gut punch. You get a fantastic goal to get back in the game, and then you can see straight away. Any team that's going to be a backbreaker. So, again, I think all the credit has to go to Steel Army here. Obviously, they're playing a rotated EM side, but again, I don't want to harp on that at all, really. I think Steel Army is playing tremendous and kind of playing the way that before the season, Maz, I would have thought that this team would play, a potential playoff team. And again, their playoff hopes are still alive. They need to basically run the table. And so far, this is a great start. As you see Raisin Boy on the score sheet, I think he deserved a goal for the way that he's played in this game too. He's been a little bit of an extra spice that kind of wasn't there for Steel Army in Game 1. And when Raisin Boy's on, as those of us who've been in SGL for a while know, when he's on, I think he gives a little bit extra to the Steel Army team, and it's 5-1.
Welcome back, Raisin Boy. We missed you. He has turned up with a well-deserved goal. One of the SGL commentators from in past seasons. I hope he can come back and commentate for SGL again. But this is so good to see if you're Steel Army, because now you're getting it to form at the right time. You said they need to get all the wins. What a big save, by the way, by, I believe that was Ponzi. But it's all for naught, because Steel Army are leading 5-1. They're going to get this game 2 in the bag. What a performance we're seeing right here, folks. Despite El Matador doing better defensively, this Steel Army team has found a way to unlock EM. And this is looking really good for them so far.
Yeah, I think this is the Steel Army that, and I'll keep saying it because I think it's true. This is the Steel Army team that we've been really hoping to see this season. They're coming off the back of I believe they won last week. Or did they win last week? I think they won last week.
They did,
double check so I'm not spreading misinformation. They did win last week with a sweep of Emerald City Defiance, and they're well on their way, Maz, to winning 2 straight series via a sweep. So some good momentum for them in these must-win series at the end of the SGL season for their playoff hope. So yeah, if you're a Steel Army fan in chat or watching, man, you got to feel really good about where your team is at right now.
Yeah, despite all the struggles earlier on in the season, Steel Army's finding a way back. They could potentially sweep El Matador right here. Whoops, I didn't update the scoreline. That's my fault, chat. Sorry about that. It is 2-0, not 1-0. It is 2-0. But yeah. Yeah, they could potentially sweep El Matador right here. And for El Matador, yeah, I get that they have a bit of a cushion, but they need to get one game in at least. If they could get that one game, they could at least seal the playoff spot for themselves. Because if Timber's Army win, they're going to put a lot more pressure on El Matador, given how this is going so far.
I'm not too sure how the numbers work, but yeah, if you're EM, obviously you want to win games, not lose games. But yeah, I think kind of just want to harp on Steel Army here. Don't really want to critique EM too much, to be honest. I think it's just a Steel Army team that's playing their best ball at the best time of the season. So if this does indeed hurt EM's chances of making playoffs, I think that'll be fine for them as they get more of their veterans or more of their top lineups in the remaining series. But yeah, I think this is all Steel Army here. They're playing tremendous ball, and it's really fun to watch them play at the behest of playing against my team. But it's really fun to watch them play this sort of style of ball that we know they can really play. Listen, if you're a Steel Army fan watching, like, where has this been all season? And I'm kind of in that boat, like, where's the Steel Army been all season? But I guess better late than never. is the saying. So good on Steel Army so far in these first 2 games, and I look forward to the game 3.
Absolutely. We're still waiting for all the players to join in right now, folks. So just bear with us for a little bit. I do want to highlight that this matchup is still very important for El Matador, not in terms of the result, but in terms of the playing time. I think you highlighted this earlier. This El Matador team does not have that much chemistry together with all the new players coming in. So if they can just play together a bit more in this kind of situation, under the pressure of a competitive SGL match, I think this will help them be much better down the line. I mean, that's how the likes of Debit, Bear Blitz, and Razor Boy improved. They started playing SGL. They got better by playing in these competitive SGL matches against better players. And eventually, they are as good as they are now. So for, the El Matador players like Saint and Kuv, even Ponzi, if you keep playing, with different teammates in these kind of situations, everyone's going to get better. So despite the result, I think there's a positive effect that they can gain from this match, right?
Yeah, again, any sort of actual live gameplay in any sort of league context is really going to help you out. There's not much comparison to a ranked game or a casual game or even just a private lobby with your friends in a VC. There's a little bit of added pressure and added nerves or whatever you want to call it by playing these games. So these are really good reps for everybody when you play in these leagues. And again, the guys from Steel Army, for example, have been playing in SGL for years. And so for players like Pones, for players like Overtime Saint, these are really good games to kind of get the nerves all fleshed out, and hopefully, like you said, it'll pay forward and once we hit the playoffs or once we hit into these latter 2 weeks. So again, even if you're losing games, there is still some benefits to take in terms of experience.
Hey, that's all you need at the end of the day to get better, folks. Experience. Kuv, he in season 3 was, I'll be honest, just really bad and really struggling, but now he's gotten much better. And I'll say the same for Overtime Saint. When he gets going, when he starts playing more, he will get much better. Posey has shown a lot of flashes. I think he showed that he could be one of the better SGL players. But even for him, playing with new teammates will help him get much better at the game as well. Because in SGL you gotta adapt to all sorts of teammates. You can't just expect to have high quality teammates every single game. So even he's gonna benefit off of this.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're just waiting, guys, for a little bit of technical difficulties on the server. We're trying to find a good server, which, as you guys know who all play Rocket League, is a bit hard to find here on this game at times. So once we have all the players back in the lobby, we'll be continuing the series and getting into that game number 3. But yeah, Maz, I mean, I kind of think this probably is just going to go 3 games. I think Steel Army, the momentum that they have off of these first 2 games, in my opinion, will probably just be too much for EM to overcome. Coming off the back, I really like that Raisin Boy substitution. Nothing against Red 4. Red 4, one of our longest serving and players in SGL, but I think Raisin Boy just kind of adds a little bit more spice to their play, a little bit more speed. And so I'm really interested to see what kind of lineup they roll with here in game number 3.
Yeah, I wonder if they're gonna make some subs again, or if they're gonna keep the same lineup. But I think everyone's in, so we are gonna see all together who they will be fielding. Steel Army, that is, because El Matador have no subs. They have the same 3. And as you can see right here, folks, in a little bit, you are seeing, well, Posey, Raisin Boy is still in here, yes, which basically means that Steel Army are fielding the same 3 as game 2. Here we go. I think Steel Army are very likely going to get a sweep, but can El Matador spring a surprise?
Yeah, and of course in Rocket League we know if you can get 1 game, you're feeling so much better about yourself. So if you're EM, even though it's been a really rough first 2 games, if you can get on the board with a game here, you'd really never know. And so, again, if you're Steel Army, you don't want to have EM get any sort of momentum, and you want to close it out here and get that clean sweep.
Yeah, one thing I find interesting is El Matador kind of started off on the back foot, trying to make sure they didn't get that early goal in. And it helped them because now they look more confident. Now they're able to build up and take some control right here as a Raisin Boy whiffs that. Posey getting ready for a shot. Posey towards the far post. What a save by Devin. That is terrific positioning. Nothing fancy right there, but that has come up clutch. And now the ball's going to the other end. And just like that, Steel Army get their first goal, courtesy of a Raisin Boy pass to Bear Blitz.
Yeah, this all starts with Debit, like you said, Mads, in commentary. Fantastic save on what it looked like a sure goal for Ponzi and El Matador on the other end, but great link-up play from Raisin Boy and from Bear Blitz there to get them on the board. And man, you got to be feeling really well about that sort of team play coming out from Steel Army. Every member there contributed to their first goal.
Absolutely, and that's what makes Steel Army so dangerous. When they get that team play going, they are so tough to deal with. El Matador, though, they should feel much better because they did set up a really good chance courtesy of Posey, and they are looking better defensively right here as well. So despite conceding that first goal, I think they have what it takes to get back into this game 3. Nice job there by Sage towards the middle. Oh my goodness, Posey! How's that not in? But Sage cleans it up, and El Matador, Luis, are back in this.
This is actually a crazy read from Ponzi. I mean, I can't really put it into words how just hard that read is. Like, that's crazy read. And yeah, tremendous bounce back from EM here when it looks like all the momentum is going against you. Ponzi, he's really had 2 highlight plays, probably the 2 highlight plays of the series. Yeah, that just kind of shows you the ability that he has. As we see another tremendous save for him, he's really somebody to watch out for in SGL.
Posey has stepped up, chat. Posey has stepped up big time. He doesn't want to see his El Matador team get swept right here, and he is pulling out all the stops. But let's give credit to Saint as well. Much better this game, and Kuv too, getting more of those solid contacts, being much better defensively. Again, disrupting the Steel Army team. And despite Steel Army setting up a beautiful attack right here, they're just not able to finish off their chances as well. They need to be more wary as El Matador come through. Kuv and Sage combining together. Not much they got off of that, but now Posey comes up, keeps up the pressure, and Luis, El Matador looking way better right here.
Yeah, so far I really like kind of EM's play here. A little bit more conservative, and I think it kind of suits them in a game like this. Be a little bit more conservative. Let Steel Army come to you. So we see a great center ball from Overtime Saint. Unfortunately, none of his teammates are there, but yeah, a little bit more conservative play, and I think that's going to suit them here if they want to have any chance of winning this game 3.
You saw that demo right there from Raisin, but that's why El Matador had basically 2 back. They're able to get away with it on the counter. Saint goes for a shot. Raisin Boy intercepts. That other shot off of Kuv to the near post does not go on target, but now Posey should be able to take control of the ball in the midfield. Nice first touch. Nice 50 off the corner. Corner pass by Posey. Raisin Boy, though, clears it out to Devin. Devin with a touch to the opposite side. Open net at his mercy. 1, 2, 3. Steel Army take the lead.
That's the one thing, Maz, so far in this series, that every sort of goal that Steel Army scores, it's always a team play. It's always a bump, some passing plays. There we saw a tremendous front-to-back team play from Steel Army, and I think that just kind of shows you just how important chemistry is, just how important practice time is, or experience, and all of the experience is coming into the favor of Steel Army so far in this series.
Yet it's a very good point that you bring up, because this Steel Army is one of the most experienced teams in all of SGL. I think all these players have been playing since Season 1 of SGL, folks, since 2020. So these guys have been together for a long time. They know each other's strengths and weaknesses. They know how to play with each other, boss. And they are showing that right here, for sure. El Matador, on the other hand, have Kuv as their veteran player. Posey and Saint are both new as of this season. Well, a few weeks ago, rather. So, for them, you know, they're just 1 goal down. They still have a chance to come back, but all these demos are just making it so much more difficult for them, Luis.
Yeah, EM can't get out. It's all Steel Army right now. The third goal looking way more likely than the second goal for EM. And yeah, Steel Army, man, they, I don't want to say they're back, but man, they're playing, again, their best ball of this season. As we have Pones with a shot here, great save by Raisin Boy. That was really the chance if you're EM that I think you really need. And yeah, that's probably going to do it for this series, Maz. But again, I think all credit goes to Steel Army, man. I've been really impressed with just how good their team play is. But we have Pones in a
Oh, my
1v1
goodness.
with a great save. That was the chance for EM there. A great save at the end. Debit's going to clear to Bear Blitz. And that's going to do it. Steel Army sweep El Matador, keeping their playoff hopes alive. And yeah, Maz, I mean, that was a tremendous series from Steel Army. Back-to-back wins. They're on a roll.
That was El Matador's best game, in my opinion. And yet, Steel Army saw them off. They have taken all sorts of challenges here, but Steel Army have been able to overcome all of them. That is the sign of a great team, folks. And I say great because Steel Army has been around for a while. They've been getting much better on paper. They should be higher up. But I think they're starting to creep up the table now, Luis. So they've come into form at the right time.
Yeah, obviously you want to be playing your best ball at the end of the season going into playoffs. So again, if you're a Steel Army fan, player, enjoyer, you're really liking the way that your team is playing. And then if you're EM, I think really these games are, you really shouldn't think one way or another. These are just kind of practice games in terms of getting squad rotation, good experience, good practice. And so I think for both teams, there's some positives to take away from the series. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to talking to some of the players.
Big time. Now, when it comes to the table, it does make for interesting reading, and I would like to show it before we get to the interviews in a bit, because I think this is very important. So, with that win, Luis in chat, Steel Army are now in 7th, 2 points behind Timbers Army, with the same number of matches played, the same record as well, just worse off in the points and games won percentage because Timbers Army have gotten a couple more games won overall this season. But now, the pressure is on Casey Cauldron and Emerald City Blue, Luis. What an incredible turnaround for Steel Army right here.
Yeah, again, we spoke about this during the commentary. Steel Army basically has to win out, and this was the first piece of the puzzle. They got the sweep here. They won last week with the sweep, and so, you know, Steel Army's still has a great chance if they win out to make the playoffs. This race for this last spot is going to be one for the ages in SDL. I don't think we've had this sort of congestion and parity for a race for a playoff spot like we have here, Maz. So I'm really looking forward to some of these really key games we have this week and in the last 2 weeks of the season. So that TA-KC game is going to be even more important than it was already.
Dude, seriously, I mean, if you're Timbers Army, you need to get your match won. If you win 2 games, that's not going to be enough because that's a 4-point gap. And if Timbers Army potentially get swept, if they don't have easy fixtures coming here for the rest of the weeks. Yeah, they have a bye week next week, and then the final week they're facing off against Los Verdes. Okay, not too bad. But this week is critical for them. They cannot afford to lose. They have to win this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you're TA, you have to win this game. I mean, this is going to be your playoff game here. So again, TA's been playing way better of late, and then KC are the champions, so they have that pedigree. So that's going to be the game of the week so far for me. But yeah, looking forward to that matchup once we get around to scheduling it.
Yeah, and hopefully we get that scheduled soon so we can show it off and stream here. But for now, let's talk a bit about Steel Army versus El Matador, Luis. One thing I want to talk about is Steel Army's team play, even with the substitution. Like, they look like they lost nothing. You know, earlier on the season when they would bring Raisin Boy on, they would take a bit of time to adapt to him. Now they didn't. So what do you think has changed now for Steel Army compared to a few weeks ago?
Yeah, listen. I think Raisin Boy has been again a player in SGL who's really been tremendous for so long, and so maybe earlier on in the season they've had some rough spells with him coming in, or just in general the team. But I think in general I think that he's been tremendous every time that I've seen him on the field, and I think in this series I think he played his best that I've seen him so far in season 8. So. Yeah, again, if you're Steel Army, this is fantastic. You're on a roll. You got to carry this momentum on to next week. I forgot who they play next week, but yeah, I think just keep playing the same way you're playing Steel Army, and yeah, you have a really good chance of honestly making a miraculous run to that last playoff spot.
Big time. And Steel Army's coming up clutch at a really good time here. One thing I do want to say is, in our predictions in the chat, we had only one person in chat predict a win for Steel Army. And that was Overtime Saint himself. I don't know how I feel about that, Luis. Kind of a weird way to go, but I think he saw the writing on the wall. Would you say that's the case right here?
Hey, he saw through the, he had a crystal ball, and I guess he saw it because no one else saw it. So good for him on predicting the series.
Absolutely, and we will have the interviews ready in just a little bit, folks. Just bear with us for a sec as we get that sorted out. We will have someone from Steel Army coming in, as well as from El Matador. Just want to make sure we have everyone ready to go. Now, Luis, for El Matador right here, you saw where they were on the table. You saw that they have 23 points. They need at least one win to seal the playoff spot, don't they?
Yeah, probably.
Or at least not one win, but like 4 points over 2 games, right?
Yeah. If that's how the math works, that's how the math works. I'm not too sure on the math, so I trust you. If EM needs those points, then they need those points. So hopefully they can get that. And yeah, I guess if not, it's unfortunate. But yeah, I trust you on the math, Maz.
I'm just going by my own, insights, not my own insights, sorry, my own like inferences right here too, because I'm thinking if you get to 27 points, you're more than set. Like, you have nothing to worry about. So if you can get up to 27 points, you should be good. We are just about ready to go for the interview, folks. Just bear with us for a little bit more. Saint in chat celebrating his channel point success. Hey Matt, I hope that makes you feel better about after that loss. Devin in chat also saying Timbers Army and KC gonna be a fun one. I'll be there no matter what. I agree, and I hope we can get that on stream for sure. Just about ready to go. Just sorry, it's taking a little bit longer. Just making sure everything is good to go. And all right, folks, we do have our interview ready to go. So let us welcome into the commentary booth, Debit and Bear Blitz. How you guys doing tonight?
Oh my gosh, we're here again. There's no shady business, right? Like, Luis is in the booth. What is happening? I don't know what's real anymore.
Well, what's happening is Steel Army have won 2 straight series via sweeps, which keeps y'all in the playoff hunt. You guys are still in with a chance of the playoffs. I don't think either of y'all would have thought that in your wildest dreams maybe 3 weeks ago you would be on that last spot, banging on the door to get into the playoffs. So yeah, just speak to me about the past 2 weeks. Y'all are on a roll, and hey, maybe playoffs are around the corner.
Listen, we knew going in that last week, we're like, yeah, we probably have no shot. It's like, have fun with it. And now we're just like, yeah, playing against EM. You can go against whoever. Don't even know what's going to happen. We played one team in casual that had a very mechanical player. I'm like, oh, well. Bear's like, we can work with this. It'll be like if we play against Luis, right? And then we famously did not play against you. So... But yeah, it was good to see Koo back on the field. It's good to sort of get back to it. I mean, it feels good to win, but playoffs? I don't know, bro. That's KC and Timbers. What do I root for?
Yeah, for y'all's sake, I actually don't know how the math needs to math in order for y'all to have the best chance. I would assume it's actually TA winning. Actually, I'm not even sure. I won't even guess. But
it's too speculative right now.
But no, yeah. One last question for me. It seems like in recent weeks when you've made substitutions with Raisin Boy or you've made substitutions with Red 4 or whatever, there's been some cohesion issues. But man, it really seemed like today when Raisin Boy came in that game too, that it was seamless and he was really popping off.
Yeah, absolutely. I really wanted to get him back out there. We've haven't been able to have him for last couple times, or at least felt like we were able to, but just didn't quite get him in yet. But yeah, glad he was able to join us tonight, because like we know like the talent of like all four of us on this roster, and I know it's casually a back and forth between Red and Raisin at that point, but Raisin providing that little extra, so whether it be a bump, some of those 50s that he has in mid. It worked really well, even whenever Bear was having a little bit of packet loss issue in game 2. Like, it was critical. So yeah, him having his expertise working around, and us playing twos is sort of like going back to the old days where we kind of used to ball out playing twos. So it kind of just felt like seamless. So anytime we can get all of us involved, I think that's when we're at our best.
You know what's interesting about getting everyone involved and everyone having a part to play. I'm looking at the match stats. Over all 3 games, you and Bear Blitz both have 5 goals each, over 11 shots. You both have the same exact number of goals and shots. It's crazy how that works out between you two, eh?
Oh, Bear. First it was you. Let's get all the assists for you, and then all of a sudden it just heel turned to us all around getting assists for you to get the goals then.
Yeah, I don't like scoring. Scoring is no good for me. I like assisting. Keep me on the assists, please.
Yeah, no, it's crazy that how like sort of worked out where it sort of had like that flow of we had the scorer, then the assister, and then the support, and then it just kind of flipped roles.
One other thing I found that was interesting in your team, Devin and Barrett, was you guys were getting more demos going as well. You have 5 demos inflicted in this whole match, followed by Raisin Boy with 4. In 2 games, he got 4 demos, Devin. That's crazy. And then even Bear Blitz got involved in it. I mean, he didn't just have 2 demos. He got a bunch of key bumps that contributed to goals in both games 1 and 2. And I'm not sure about 3, but games 1 and 2 for sure. Is this something you guys have been trying to incorporate into your playing style over the past few weeks?
I think every team should do this, to be honest, because I think it just ends up being part of the game, whether you're playing casual or competitive. And I think even at one point, it came down to even like boost starving on Matador. But yeah, anything you can throw off rotations with, and people start jumping for kind of no reason, or they just panic jump. That's the kind of situation you want to force. So anytime you can make teams uncomfortable, that's what we'll go for sure.
Now, Barry, you said you don't necessarily enjoy scoring goals, but you enjoy assisting goals. How about bumps and demos? Do you enjoy that as well?
I mean, it does feel good to get a demo every now and then, but also every once in a while. You mentioned I had several key bumps. Quite honestly, I don't remember most of them. The only one I think I remember was one on Goob, to be honest. Outside of that, I don't really remember a whole bunch of them. I think a lot of the times whenever I go through and do most of the bumps, it's coming through on a rotation, going through the rotation, anybody there? All right, well, let me take a smack at it. It's just kind of part of the playing style. If somebody's there, hit them, move on, continue through the rotation. If they're not, just follow through. So it's kind of just a habit of play style more than anything else. So it's kind of second nature at this point. It's not really, I don't really necessarily, it's not an enjoy thing, but it's definitely it's almost business-like, if you will, I guess.
Yeah, I get you. I understand. Now, to round off the interview, you guys have just 2 more matches left in this season. Is there a match in particular that you're looking forward to in the past 2 weeks? Now, for your convenience, in Week 10, next week, you're facing Emerald City Blue, and then in the last week of the season, you're facing the Rebellion. So, are you looking forward to any of those 2 matches in particular for any reason? And are you looking forward to potentially getting in the playoffs?
I mean, just to go first, I know one of the first, I think, scrims that the Rebellion had might have been against us when last season before the Open Cup, and it was really fun to play against them. And they're a really good and talented group of guys. So I think just that match in general will be a must-watch, and it'll be a really, really good matchup. I think just between both teams, it's a well matched up team, or back and forth between the two teams. So I think that's going to be a good one. I could even see that one going 5. So I think that's going to be a real good one, real fun one.
Heck yeah, absolutely. A debit.
I gotta agree. It's Rebellion. Listen, I really love those group of guys from New England. Really chill guys. Not shorts though. But yeah, that's a hashtag pants gang. But yeah, I think Rebellion are honestly like one of our favorites. Get to play around our turf, that history in the Open Cup with them. Yeah, just a good group of guys, and we had fun scrimming them even the last time, and that was only 2/3 of a Steel Army team. Yeah, just fun group to play against because I think they get the best out of you.
Absolutely. Now, I just remembered this one thing. You guys did travel to Loudoun, and you guys also recently celebrated one of your keepers, Eric Dick. And you had a particular chat going for him, which involved the word superstar. So, on that note, who would you consider the superstar in Steel Army?
It's Debit. He won't say it, but it's Debit.
Nope, I won't say it. So it's Bear Blitz. Actually, Eric Dick's on the team. I just made him be on the team just for this purpose. So
Eric Dick, superstar.
See?
There it is.
Steel Army Player of the Year. Steel Army Player of the Year.
Heck yeah, absolutely. He's a good player too, and I hope he gets going and keeps rising up, because I think he might make a solid MLS keeper at the end.
Yeah, for sure. He's definitely making the case for it to get back up.
Now, the floor is yours, Debit and Bear Blitz. If you have anything you want to say to Red4 in the chat, to Shorts in the chat, to anyone, people who are going to watch this VOD back afterwards, the floor is yours. Go ahead.
Go forth.
All right. Well, again, shout out Steel Army Player of the Year, Eric Dick. Shout out all of our Steel Army members. Shout out Raisin, Fred, EC Blue. Looking forward to next week. We'll see you guys, and looking forward to the matchup.
Debit?
Shout out all my SGL fam. Looking forward to playing you EC Blue and the Rebellion. Hey, let's get a dub in Charleston. Let's keep it rolling.
Heck yeah. Thank you very much, guys. Congrats on your sweep. And we hope to see you guys continue to do well and, potentially make this 6-spot race really interesting at the end. So GG's, and have a good night, y'all.
GG's.
GG's.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Luis, I kind of baited them, not going to lie, into getting that Eric Dick Superstar chat out. But,
Hell yeah. The Bear Blitz special.
Oh, indeed. It is absolutely a special. And I think that's the kind of camaraderie that makes me really enjoy SGL. It's like bringing people together like this who may not typically come together. And now, these guys can travel together to away days and they could celebrate their SG, not just, amongst themselves in SGL, but even outside of it, and it's just great to see. It's just great to see this kind of togetherness,
Yeah, I always love to see the camaraderie between supporters and what it means to them in this league, yeah.
And on that note, I mean, we could say that about El Matador as well, right? Because if you don't mind, when Caesar first came in, he wasn't really familiar with everyone at El Matador. Now he's like more heavily involved, isn't he?
Yeah, of course. It's just this league's been a really good way of like building friendships and bonds over supporting your team in the stand. So yeah, we've done that obviously for my team as well, as I assume many others in the SGL, and that's just kind of what we're all about here at SGL. So yeah, hopefully we can continue to grow that and continue on that path.
Absolutely, and I think we are just about ready for our second interview, and now is a good time for us to bring in Overtime Saint from El Matador. Saint, terrible loss for y'all. You know, that was a very tough match for you guys, but is there something that you can take out of this? Anything positive, in your view?
Oh, well, I mean, I guess the only thing positive to say is that I'm rich now. I have now basically hit the mother load in Twitch. What's it called? Currency. So I'm gonna go hit the casinos afterwards and spend it
The
all.
V-Bucks, the Twitch
The
V-Bucks.
V-Bucks. Yeah, I'm gonna see if it's redeemable V-Bucks. I mean, it's Epic Games. It probably is. But yeah, but in terms of the match, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of things to take, I guess. I guess the main thing is just the communication, you know. We were just like looking, like it was just some issues that were just missing a little bit of miscommunication and such. That I feel like if we got it down, we'd probably, you know, be in a better position and such. But yeah. See.
And yeah, this was your first full series of SGL. Saint, yeah, just kind of describe to me how it felt. Obviously, it was a bad loss or whatever, but playing your first full series of SGL, yeah, how did it feel for you?
I mean, despite the loss, I feel like personally, I felt much better in terms of like the, you know, I mean, maybe I played the same, but I feel like I had definitely improved a lot in this game compared to like that of the last game, as well as getting the full game now. I got that experience in me, like at least that, you know, not really experience, but you know, I got like I warmed up at that point, you know, and everything, you know. I did much better. I understood how the team plays, and along with that, I was able to contribute more to this team. Yeah, I feel like I am slowly becoming more accustomed to team play of the sort. Yeah.
So, Saint, I do want to highlight one thing, and that is that you guys were trying a few different things. You guys were changing it up game to game. Who was the one making that call in the team? Was it just you guys as a consensus, or was there someone taking charge and trying to lead the way?
Yes, with this game, there was not really, it was not some straight out like one man calling the shots. It was all of us just, you know, saying one small thing or another. Yeah, we went the game kind of like in a shoot style. We just went on about and played our game. And then depending on how it goes, we try to make small adjustments to that. But yeah, we had no like shot caller, if you will.
I understand. I gotcha. Now, speaking of shot calling, you were getting into the goals quite regularly in game one. Your finishing was really good. You know, you already talked about yourself feeling better and getting more confident.
Of course.
Do you see yourself getting more game time as this progresses for you?
I mean, as we all know, and I was of course love to talk about myself and look at myself. I saw the ratings, and obviously there was just one thing I didn't like. That was just the fact that I was in the absolute bottom of the league. So of course, I feel like as long as I improved in everything, I'll slowly climb up that ladder, and maybe not immediately, because well, like I didn't realize it was a thing that you're supposed to like that everyone else in the league had their what was it? They play with controllers had their controllers vibration turned off and had their camera shake turned off. So if anything, I have a long ways to go. So yeah, I just you know, maybe in due time, maybe not in this season while I'll be playing more often, but maybe in the next season there might be a chance out there. If not, I can always like bribe the main man for EM with a couple of Twitch points, you know, is my go-to. If all else fails, yeah.
We have no idea who that would be. Obviously, that's
Yeah, of course.
that person doesn't exist. So
Yeah, no, but like I mean, but as well as like the fact that I would have game time, like saying like a question is like I guess you would say it is a testament to like our team depth, you know, because well we had some scheduling issues for one of our scheduled players and everything, but you know we still had enough numbers to make up in terms of like, you know, fill in regardless of the scheduling. Yeah.
Luis, is there anything you want to ask right now, or are you good?
no, yeah, I'm good.
Okay, because I have a couple more questions. First of all,
Yeah.
when it comes to, you know, the last couple of matches of the season, are you hoping to feature in any one of them? And if so, which match would you prefer to get in? For your convenience, Week 10, El Matador is facing Emerald City RC. Realistically, I doubt that'll be possible. But Week 11, you guys are facing KC Cauldron. Now, there's a chance that you guys might be qualified by that. But out of ECRC or KC Cauldron, in your opinion, what would you like to feature it, if at all?
Well, for the sake of the team, I think I'd rather just feature in the Cauldron. I mean, the immediate next game is so Week 10 is Emerald City, right?
Yep.
And then in the game afterward, well, I don't know. I mean, the only way I feel like I'd be okay with it if for some reason you had like Hughes, Caesar, Luis just like stranded and missing in the woods or something, and then I guess you had to call upon us. And I'm like, okay, I'll get, fine, I'll get in. Why not put in a shift or whatever? But I mean, with how it is, I'm fine if they want to put me in the Cauldron game, if anything. If I'm ready by then, yeah, sure, why not?
And last question before we end this interview. You've been here for a few weeks now. About 3 weeks, I believe. What has your experience at SGL been like at this time?
As a new person, a relatively new person, becoming a more, I guess, familiar face, it's been pretty fun. It's been amazing, I mean, I got to make a lot of friends here and everything. Got honestly, all my years playing Rocket League, which if you see my gameplay, I know it's surprising. I know I look like I've probably been like a couple months at best. But regardless of that, it's just been amazing. I've never really played with in a VC with like other people, or like just casual player or whatever. So to have an opportunity just to like play with people that I not only I can talk to and play with, but with some I actually have the opportunity to meet IRL and such, and also because you're united by a similar interest and all. I feel like it's an amazing thing, and I hopefully like to see not only more people from not only the Dallas area, but like every other supporters group eventually join this league in some capacity or of the sort. Yeah.
Heck yeah, we hope more people can get involved in this for next season as well and beyond too. So yeah, we've come to the end. Saint, the floor is open. If you want to say whatever you want to say, you can go ahead now.
Okay. Okay. What do I want? What should I say?
You don't need to if you have nothing to say.
Whoa! Come on now. I like yapping. I guess one. Well, I can't be there for the next. What's it called? Likely won't be there for the next Seattle game. I would like to see if I can be there in a commentary capacity. I need to get my commentary skills up, hopefully. So I'm hoping we could talk about that in the future.
Oh, absolutely.
All right. And then the one last thing is justice for my boy Kuv. My boy was hitting hitting triangles on his connection ping. That is all. Justice for him, and that is all.
All right, sounds good. Saint, thank you very much for the interview right here. Again, tough loss, but it sounds like you're in high spirits still. And,
Yep.
Hopefully, El Matador could get into the playoffs.
All right. Bye. Love you too. Mwah.
Have a good night. Take care. That about wraps it up for the stream, Luis. I think Saint didn't really seem that downtrodden. I guess it makes sense, right? Like, El Matador is still in a relatively comfortable position. The new players are getting more game time, so that's good. And hey, Coop featured once again, so there you go. So, all in all, a positive week for y'all, right? In a way?
Yeah, obviously at EM, we don't really care about winning. That sounds kind of crass, but we're all about having fun here. This is a for-fun league, and we're trying to get as many people playing time and experience, and we're excited. Hopefully we make playoffs. If we don't, not the end of the world, but we're excited, and good to see Overtime Sane and maybe a potential new commentator, man. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
And by the way, Chad, if you're still in here, we're always looking for new commentators, people to help out with the stream. So if you're interested, message a mod or an admin, and we'll be in touch.
Yeah, seriously, we're always looking for more help. More help is good for us. So if you want to commentate, if you want to help stream, I'm happy to teach people how to stream as well. If you have zero experience streaming, I'm happy to help set things up for you guys as well. The more streamers we get, the more streams we can set up. The more commentators we have, the more we can rotate and have people filling in when other people may not be around. So If you want to contribute in the behind-the-scenes aspect, feel free to come on in and help us out. The more, the merrier, I say.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, really enjoyed the series, Mass. Good start to week number 9 of SGL play, and yeah, the race for the last playoff spot's going to be interesting. So look forward to the next broadcast this week.
And speaking of the next broadcast, let us just quickly go over the week 9 fixtures yet again. I know we just saw the first match of the week where Steel Army beat El Matador 3-0, but for the remaining fixtures, we have Los Verdes versus the Locals, the Rebellion versus EC Blue, Timbers Army versus KC Cauldron, and ECRC versus EC Defiance. That Timbers Army versus KC Cauldron is the match to watch, folks. When we get that scheduled, we will let you know when it'll be streamed. With that said, the other matches will have their own moments, their own storylines as well. Los Verdes, it feels like we have not seen them in a while. They have a bunch of new players as well. So that's one match I'm looking forward to as well. I'm looking forward to seeing how these new players will gel together, how they'll work together. Will Devin make a comeback? Because we haven't seen Devin in a while. As for the Locals, they've had their week-long break. And they didn't look good last week, but how they looked this time against Los Verdes and their new team. So pretty much every match has something to it,
Yeah, again, one of the beauties of this season of SGL is that every match there's meaning. The parodies, again, the best it's ever been in SGL. So yeah, get ready for the upcoming streams this week. Chat and everybody watching. There's gonna be some really, really important games that should be really good entertainment.
But for now, folks, that about wraps it up. We are going to end the stream right now. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us and for watching this match. We hope you've had a good time right here. Luis, thank you very much for commentating with me. I really appreciate it. It's kind of interesting commentating your own team's match, but I'd say you did a very good job, in my opinion. So thank you very much for helping me out. And,
absolutely, man.
Hopefully we can catch you next time as well. And for the rest of you guys in chat, thank you all for joining us. Have a good night. And we will catch you all next time. Peace.